Hi, I am Jay Kidder, and I am a fisheries engineer from Coopeville, Washington. I focus civil engineering on fisheries type projects. I'm also a fisheries biologist too. We are here at the Quivey, Nancy and Jeff Quivey property, where we installed a bridge back in, we believe, 2012 or 13. And it's a 50-foot steel, weathering steel bridge, and it crosses a tributary of the Samish, which is called Silver Creek. Yeah, and so what was here was a failing pair of culverts, and we removed those culverts and put in the 50-foot span bridge.
Thank you, Jay. So can you please tell us a little bit more about your engineering work and maybe some more about your work with SFEG in general?
Yeah. So this project here, I was a contractor for the state of Washington, and the sponsor was the Skagit Fisheries Enhancement Group, which later, now in 17, 18, I guess I became a board member. But during that time, I was not. And we were focused to doing culvert removal for fish passage. And the culverts often are a blockage for fish passage, migration of fish upstream. And so this was brought along as a project to fix those fish passage barrier culverts. So we looked at it as from the engineering standpoint, it would be later than what the sponsor had done. But before that, they had worked with the Quiveys to suggest the idea of fixing it, try to provide funding, and all of that's done by the sponsor, which is Skagit Fisheries Enhancement Group. And then us engineers come along and try to solve what is the situation, and this is a good site for a bridge.
Jay, why are fish passage projects important? Why are we even working on these culverts?
Good. Yeah, so it is a big problem in many of these size tributaries and smaller tributaries. This being a tributary of Friday Creek, there's many smaller tributaries that have culverts, and across the state, 10 years ago, we had over 100,000 culverts that were blocking fish passage for juvenile fish and adults. And working through the forest, the commercial foresters have solved many of those problems, most of them. And now we're working on the local landowners and the state highways. And we still think there's almost 40,000 barriers at this time that cause a impasse to migration and an impasse for juveniles to access their rearing areas. And so that's why it's a passage problem.
What fish are we seeing on Silver Creek here today?
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing some coho, and my fish biology is a little rusty, but that's what I see. They're coho adults, and some are spawning right next to Jeff and Nancy's house here at the bridge site, and others are going on past, but there's quite a few coho is what we see here.
And Jay, is there anything you want to tell to folks watching this video?
Well, I kind of focus on these bridges being a good solution to removing a culvert. And most sites, it's a pretty stable way to provide a good access. A lot of the culverts are very short in length, parallel to the stream. Bridge is a good solution, and it has a lot of room underneath the bridge for the stream to live and the fish to go by, and it solves all those things at once. So that's why I do them.
So now I am here with Jay Kidder, who we just met, and landowner Nancy Quivey. Nancy, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and why we are here?
Yeah, sure. So my husband and I own this land for, louder?
Yeah.
Gosh, almost 20 years now, 18 years, I think.
Nice.
And we just fell in love with it the first time we saw it. Coming down the driveway with all the trees and crossing over the creek. At the time that we owned it, we had 2 culverts here, and there was a lot of growth around here, and you actually couldn't see that well that there even was a creek. Actually,
Yeah.
Ironically. And so I think it was 2012 we were approached by Sue
Madsen.
Madsen with the Skagit Fisheries Enhancement Group, and proposed the idea of replacing our culverts, which we thought was awesome. So that's how it all started.
So Nancy, are you pleased with the results? What has your life been like since you've had this new bridge?
Well, honestly, I absolutely love the bridge. I feel like I now have waterfront property because prior to this, as I said, you couldn't even, there were lots of bushes growing up around the road, and you couldn't even see the creek unless you got stopped and got out of the car and kind of parted the bushes. So I really enjoy the bridge. Yeah, it's great.
So Nancy, since this bridge has been erected, have you been able to see more fish? Have you noticed any differences with the salmon?
We do see quite a few more fish now with the bridge. I have to say, a lot of it's been a learning process because I didn't know how to identify the fish. And so some of that I've learned over time. A lot of it I've learned from my neighbor Sue Matson. But it's definitely, we're seeing more fish than we ever saw before.
And it sounds like you feel like just having the opportunity to have this project has given you more opportunities to think about why fish are important. And it seems like through Sue, you've learned some more throughout the years.
Yeah, that and just living in Washington State and really getting attached to orca and paying attention to what's happening to them makes you realize it's really important to me. And we actually boat out on the Sound and look for orca every time we go out. And my daughter did a orca education project when she was in the elementary school, and I went out to the whale museum and I learned a lot. And it was very interesting, and yeah, it's really important to me. I don't fish. I'd like to learn maybe how to fish, but I don't really know how to fish. But I really enjoy the salmon. In fact, I really enjoy when they come back every year. It's very helpful.
Nancy, any last words of encouragement or advice for maybe some landowners who also might see fish in their streams?
Yeah, if you have a stream that looks like it's bearing fish and you have structures that look like they're small or limiting, I would absolutely recommend getting in touch with somebody from the Skagit Fisheries Enhancement Group because it's been amazing the work they did, and honestly they did such a great job and they were really responsive to my requests. Not that I have very many, but they were great to work with, and literally it cost me nothing.
Great, thank you, Nancy.